So Susan, Tony Chiappetta Shoes, we've met before.
Nice to see you again.
Tell me about how we kind of got started. Like, what was your journey to having foot pain? What options you explored?
I have had knee pain and occasional hip pain for quite a few years. I'm very flat-footed on the left, pronate quite a bit. And so I was seeing a physical therapist for that as well as other things. Mm-hmm. And he's talked about orthotics, and he recommended this place specifically. So I thought, why not? Because I was happy with him and I trusted his advice.
Yeah, when you find somebody that knows what they're talking about and they can help you out, that's definitely a trusted source. And
right.
We deal with a ton of different professionals, podiatrists, physical therapists, and it's hard to find people that really know how to solve problems. And when you find those people, you definitely want to stick to them.
Absolutely.
So tell me about some of the knee pain that you're having. Was that something that you were dealing with for a number of years, or was it more of a recent situation?
Fairly number of years, but maybe 5,
okay,
7 as I got older.
Gotcha.
And what was happening, because of my pronation, I started noticing that when I would walk, my kneecap in this leg would point toward 1 o'clock and this one would be straight.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's got to be contributing to some problem.
It's not a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. Alignment definitely is a big factor when you were talking about orthotics. Thinking about, the journey from your, physical therapist to getting the orthotics. Before that point, and even before you went to see the physical therapist for the knee pain,
right.
Had you tried outside, thinking about the knee pain specifically, had you tried any over-the-counter inserts, or had you gone to a doctor about the knee issue for
I have
other?
had some over-the-counter, but they didn't seem to do much.
Okay.
And I did many, many years ago have orthotics fit, and I wore them for a while, but then I kind of quit, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You kind of forget about them. I've got like 30 different orthotics myself, so it's hard for me to not think about them, but that's all I do all day long. So thinking about how impactful, how the orthotics worked, kind of detail a timeline from when we got started, and the effectiveness of it. How was that journey from starting working with the orthotics? Were you doing physical therapy at the same time? Remind me of that.
I had been about a month or so before.
Okay. And for when you started wearing the orthotics, how was that process? Did it feel weird a little bit at first? Did you immediately see an increase in comfort?
Well, I immediately felt better. My knee pain decreased. At that same time, I was having some hip pain that improved. And getting used to it was not hard at all. I mean, for the first 3 days, I was on a vacation. I was walking a lot. So I developed a tiny blister on the inside, which everyone had told me we're going to check the fit. And that went away and no other problems.
Okay.
And I had 2 kinds, and I'm trying to evaluate if there's much difference. Both seem to be working fine.
Good. Yeah, we take pride in, the fact that we're a shoe store. We understand how to make sure things fit as best as possible. From a fit perspective, remind me, did we make the 2 different formats? Did we make?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now I just have for more athletic shoes.
Yep.
The bigger ones.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, I think somebody mentioned that.
I came in for dress shoes today.
Yeah. Okay. Deal. Yeah. So that's a beauty of what we do is we can really understand how shoes fit, and we can make an orthotic that is thinner, but it still achieves all the goals that we want. So, that's definitely an option for you.
And I could tell by the fitting process, you really knew what you were doing. I mean, that was very comforting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, when we sit down and fit the orthotics, we want to obviously make sure we trim them up properly and things like that. But what I like to do is I like to explain, okay, what are the layers that we're making these with? Why were we using these materials? A lot of times, you go pick up an orthotic and you might go to a certain lab that's in town or some other places, and They kind of throw them at you and you say, all right, good luck, see you in 3 years. We we think of this as a long-term relationship, if you will.
And when I first came in, you said, come back in 2 weeks. We'll see if there's any problems. You evaluate them. So that was great too.
Yeah. You know, the body's dynamic, things can change. And, you know, we like to take a proactive role where we want to see every 6 months for maintenance. You know, if something does pop up, things can happen to us that, you know, is outside of what we might understand or might think of on a daily basis. And it's always good to have a professional to check you out. Thinking about the quality, you know, talking about the materials themselves, not just the process of picking them up, but, you know, you've had some over-the-counter inserts in the past. What would you say, you know, just looking at them, feeling them in your shoes, what do you think of the quality?
Comparison to the over-the-counter ones. Yeah. Absolutely not. These were fitted, they were thicker, they were perfect, and very comfortable in the shoes, though.
Good. And from a fit perspective, kind of going back to that, we made you what we consider our standard insert thickness. Okay. How has that journey been? Have you tried working with thinner, kind of dressier shoes? Okay.
And honestly, they both feel good. Okay. So I don't know which one is better.
Good. Overall, lifestyle standpoint, you know, how would you say this has impacted your life from just a daily basis? How do you feel like things have progressed over?
Well, I'm able to walk a lot more without pain. So that's been a huge step forward.
Awesome.
And I just feel better with my hip, my knee, everything.
Good. Well, that's what we shoot for. So, you know, you combine a good orthotic with a good healthcare professional, certified, or not certified, that's what I am, but you combine that with a good physical therapist that can kind of help you fine-tune alignment and corrections, and you got a solid game plan going forward. So typically, you know, when we get you set up with the orthotics, as long as you're, you know, doing things relatively right, not running around barefoot too much, you're in a good spot. So.
I found myself always reaching for the shoes with the orthotics because it does make a big difference.
Oh yeah.